Hello and welcome to my channel. My name's Michelle and I'm a blogger at the Purple Pumpkin blog and Disney Tips and Trip Reports.com. Since it's Monday, it is time for my week that was. This is number 12 and I actually have not got too much to say in this week's episode. The main thing for me that has happened over the past week has been going to my hypnotherapy session, which I mentioned in a previous week's video. My session was on Friday. I went up to Harley Street in London to see a hypnotherapist called Adam Cumberland. It's still early days yet, obviously, as to whether it has worked. That sort of happens over the next 21-day period. I thought I would quickly just let you know how things went, what my experience was, and what obviously I hope to gain from the hypnotherapy. I initially booked the session with Adam based on the fact that he specialised in weight loss and confidence, two things which one I need to sort out, i.e. lose weight, and the other one build back up my confidence, which has slowly dwindled over the past couple of years. Like I said, it was in Harley Street, so that getting there in itself was quite a big mission for me. I really don't go out very often. My husband did have the day off work so that he could come with me up to London. He dropped me off, as it were, after we'd got the train and then a bus, and we did some Pokemon hunting with Pokemon Go on the way on the bus from Liverpool Street to Harley Street. So at least it sort of kept my mind occupied, because I was excited about going, but I was also a bit on the nervous side, and Steve, my husband, was nervous as well. He was worried that I would go into the hypnotherapy session as me and come out as someone completely different. So when we met with Adam for the first time, he did ask us if there was anything we wanted to discuss, and Steve said about his nervousness about my personality changing, and Adam basically told Steve that he has to imagine what I'm like on a good day and having those good day Michelles all of the time. So I think that then put Steve's mind at rest, and then he went off to go and do some shopping down Oxford Street and Regent Street and whatnot. And obviously I had my hypnotherapy session. Adam's sessions are 4 hours long, and that is really intense. Literally a whole afternoon. I got there at 2, didn't leave till just after 6. So it's quite a lot of brain training, of emotions, tears, anger, laughter, and obviously the hypnotherapy itself. So my advice is, if you're going for that length of hypnotherapy, to make sure that either you can stay somewhere maybe nearby just so you can go back easily and just chill out for the night, or have a relatively easy journey back home. After my session, me and Steve actually caught a cab back to Liverpool Street Station to save messing around on tubes and buses. I just certainly wasn't in the mood for that. But yeah, as far as the session was concerned, 4 hours, like I said, it's a long time. I don't know if that is probably not usual time length for therapy sessions. Most are around 50 minutes to 60 minutes. And I would agree actually with Adam on what he said. He said that basically by the time you sort of get into your stride, your time is up with a regular time session. So he found over the years, and he's been doing it for 12 plus years, that 4 hour session was more beneficial to the client. And I'm glad of that, because I know that when I had counselling, I used to go there, it was a 50-minute session, and by the time I'd kind of got in my stride, as it were, the counsellor would be saying to me, "You've got 5 minutes left." And I'd be like, crap, I've still got so much more I want to say. And so you've worked up all of your emotions, and then by the time it comes to an end and you go the following week, you kind of almost have to recap and move on to the next thing, and it's just sort of 1 step forward, 10 steps back type of thing. So I got there, questions answered, Steve went off, and for the first couple of hours I literally it was almost like a counselling session where I was just chatting to Adam about the things that I had concern about. And I won't go into that here, that obviously is private, but he was very good at listening. He was very easy to talk to. He felt very sincere to me. He felt very knowledgeable. He himself was overweight and lost some weight as well, so he sort of knows what it's like to be in that position. He felt very approachable. I felt very at ease talking to him. All of these things I think are so important when going for any sort of therapy. I know when I've gone for counselling in the past, I've had counsellors that I've just not gelled with at all, and I've not been able to continue seeing them. So it's really important that you find a therapist that will suit you as a person. Many therapists, and he did as well, he offered like a free telephone chat before I went for about 20 minutes. We were on the phone a couple of weeks ago, and as soon as I started talking to him, I just knew. So I found him, I found a couple of others, and out of all of the ones that I did sort of narrow it down to, that I sort of, just by reading their website, their testimonials of previous clients, that sort of thing, he was the one that I was drawn to the most. He was the one and only one that I actually ended up contacting, and then further to that, having this 20-minute conversation. And as soon as I heard his voice, it was very calming and just put me at ease, and his voice made me feel like he could help me. I literally paid for my session sort of the next day once we'd arranged a date and stuff. So anyway, back to the first couple of hours. So for the first couple of hours, we were discussing everything. We then got to the point where we discussed the hypnotherapy and what would go on during that. Now, I can't remember everything fully, and it's funny because I've sort of spoken about this to Steve afterwards, how everything went down. I've just finished speaking to my sister about it, and I spoke to my mum about it, and it's actually really more draining than I thought it would be. So I'm probably going to skip things out, or suddenly I'll just remember something. If it's a bit scatterbrained, I do apologise now, but I just want to let you know now of my experience, and then maybe down the line as time goes on, I can kind of do follow-up videos to this one. Adam had said there was 2 ways of dealing it. One for building up my confidence, and then another one where he would make me go to like the deepest, darkest, worst times of dealing with my problem, i.e. my weight problem, and then building me back up again. And I went for the second option because I like a challenge me. I like to put obstacles in front of my obstacles, which was one of the things actually I'd said to Adam on Friday. Prior to that, he asked me to then fill out on an A4 sheet of paper. I've not done as much writing since I've been in school, I don't think, because I type a lot these days. I had to write down how I saw myself after the hypnotherapy, 1 year from now, 3 years from now, 5 years now from now, and 10 years from now, how I would feel. In fact, I've got it on my phone because I did snap a photo of it to try and remember what I'd said. So let me quickly find it. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Yeah, so I've written down experiences and feelings, and then the benefits of, and I'm not going to read it out because, like I said, it's private to me. But it's strange how writing about the feelings and benefits of me getting achieving my goals, it was so easier to write for 5 and 10 years time than it was to write in the next year or 3 years. But once that's down and it's committed to paper and stuff, so I can look back on that and say to myself, I wonder if I'll actually achieve these things. And then it came to the point where I had to just relax, sit back, and do like a sort of like almost, I guess, like a test to check that you could sort of get your mind's eye and imagine these things. And Adam asked me to picture my front door and its colour and where it was in relation to where I was sitting, and then move that door. And then I also had to raise my finger and to make sure that that sort of action didn't hurt, like up your arm and stuff, because that is the way you indicate during your hypnotherapy if you're okay for them to continue. So I did all of that, and it then started off with Adam talking about a candle and a flickering flame and the reds and the golds and the yellows and all of this. I'm trying to imagine it in my head, and music was playing and the blinds were drawn, and it was a very calming, relaxed atmosphere, trying to imagine this flame. And eventually it appeared, and I could feel like waves of yellow coming over my eyes. It was very bizarre. After some time, he then started taking me into my deepest, darkest places and the repercussions of me not achieving my goals. And I guess, like I said earlier on, it's so that you can hit rock bottom. And quite often they say to climb back up to the top, you have to reach rock bottom. Sometimes I do think I'm there already, and sometimes maybe I'm not. And so it was really strange because my eyes were closed, and prior to that, once you shut your eyes and the hypnotherapist, or Adam in my case, tells you to relax your eye muscles, your face muscles, your chin, just let everything just relax and all of that sort of stuff, because they keep an eye on these things on you. They're markers for a hypnotherapist. Your rapid eye movement, your facial, these facial points, and the raising of your finger. What was I saying? I can't remember what I was saying. So yeah, so he took me to these deep dark places, and he did say at the start, before we started, that if I needed to cry, it was okay. If I needed to scratch myself, that was fine. And he took me to these deep dark places, and I could feel tears just running out of these eyes, especially out of this eye, just running out of this eye, and then down onto my onto my cheek and onto my sort of collarbone there. And during that sort of period of time, there was some very slow moving sad music, and it took me a while to remember the name of the song, but it was Beethoven's, I think, Moonlight Sonata. So if you know that piece of music, you'll know how moving and melancholy it is. So it was very easy to feel really dark. And it was strange, because when he said about how the darkness and this, that and the other, instead of darkness enveloping my eyes, it was really bright white, which was really strange. And I remember thinking, I should be seeing darkness and not all this light. So it was. I remember feeling weird that I was seeing bright white rather than dark. But slowly, as he spoke, and I was imagining these dark thoughts, I could feel the darkness just creeping up. And then eventually the tone of the song changed, and he started to pick me up and pick me up and pick me up. He started talking about going back in time to a time before basically back to when I was a child and I was pure and no one had affected me, no one had said anything to me about my weight, no one had hurt me, no one had been nasty, no one had been cruel. And I had to imagine a little me. And I did imagine a little me, and I had two images in my head, and I did eventually stick with the one. And I do have the picture on my computer, and I think I'm going to sort of have a look at that from time to time. And I had to look at the little me and go there as adult me and tell little me that I was loved and that it was going to be hard, but I was going to be okay. And he kept reaffirming this love and this love for myself, and telling this little girl me, young and carefree with, long brown hair and a little fringe and just so happy with life, that she was loved. And I remember crying during that. I mean, absolutely bawling tears, crying. And then it came to the point where, and in fact, out of all of the hypnotherapy, that is the thing that I've taken away as the most special thing. And I do often think it's quite funny. If I could travel back in time and speak to myself, what would I say? And I think, given the experience I've now had with hypnotherapy, that I would probably go back and just say to little me that everything will be okay. It's going to be tough, but people love you and you love you. So anyway, sorry about that. I didn't mean to get so emotional. And then another thing he said, I remember him saying about a big cinema and imagining myself how I was going to look when I got to the goals that I wanted to achieve, and walking down the street and all this confidence and all sorts, and trying to picture myself. And when I remember him talking about a white light channeling up, and I remember him talking about a ball of light that I had to make it my favourite colour, and my favourite colour is purple, so I was trying to imagine this purple ball of light just spreading out through my body, through my fingers and my toes, and being grateful for everything, and being grateful for my fingers and my toes, and grateful for the people in my life, and all of that sort of thing. And then eventually going up and imagining what it would be like to just be able to rise up inside this picture of me that I want to be. And then at one point I remember him saying, that we were going to count back down from 500 to 0. Now that's a hell of a lot of numbers. And he started counting down for me: 500, 499, 498. And I tried keeping up, trying to remember the numbers, but not fully understanding and fully not being able to do it. And all the time, everything was feeling very heavy. I remember a couple of times I needed to sort of like scratch my face and scratch my shoulder here, and trying to lift up my arm, or trying to, when he asked me to raise my finger to let him know it was all okay, and just doing that was just such a struggle. And then he did sort of say that it was okay if I missed out numbers, if I missed out chunks of numbers, it wasn't a problem, but to just I didn't have to pay attention to what he was saying. And to be honest with you, there was a lot of times when I just wasn't paying attention. I was just away, I guess, with the fairies, and just seeing dancing lights in front of my eyes and stuff, and trying to imagine the things that he was telling me to imagine. And there were times where I'm not even sure if it was because he was speaking very slowly and very purposefully at a certain speed, or whether it was genuinely my mind garbling up words and slowing things down or speeding things up. I really honestly don't know, but it was the most weirdest sensation. And then eventually, as the session started to come to an end, he did say to me that I would only open my eyes when I felt that it was the right time to do so. It could be 2 seconds, 20 seconds, 20 minutes. And he did start counting down from 10 to 1. All the time he was counting down, I kept thinking in my brain, I'm going to open my eyes when he gets to number 1. And when he got to number 1, I didn't open my eyes. I literally couldn't open my eyes. And it took a few moments for me to just sort of sit there and absorb everything that had been said to me, and a lot of it that I wasn't understanding, for me to just suddenly blink my eyes open. And the first thing he said to me was how my eyes looked so bright and full of zest. And if I didn't believe him, to go and look in the mirror. He had a big mirror in his therapy room. And yeah, it was. And he'd sort of said how I would probably feel drained because for the past 2 hours I had obviously had an intense brain workout, essentially. And I turned around and said to him, I said, 2 hours? I said, I've not been sitting there for 2 hours. And he said, yes, you have. And I said, no, I haven't. I've been sitting there for about 20 minutes. And I had to look at the clock on my phone to see the time was after 6 o'clock, and couldn't quite believe that I had actually been sort of in a state of subconsciousness for all of that time. And we had a bit of a chat afterwards, and I'd sort of discussed my journey and how that I can't remember a lot of the things that he'd said to me. And he said that that was normal, that things would suddenly spark later on over the next 21 days, and that he would send me some stuff via email. I've listened to a couple of the audios that, or he sent me 2 audios, whereas I've listened to a couple of them. I've listened to the one audio, one about gratitude, and there's another one about losing weight, and I've put them on my phone now, so I'm able to my sister just texted me. I am able to put some earphones in and listen to them while I go to sleep, which is what he suggested to do. So yeah, so that is my hypnotherapy session and what it was like. I know it's not probably the most interesting of topics for a lot of people, but for me, I found it extremely interesting, and I like to think that it has helped me. It has helped me, and it will continue to help me reinforce a positive and confident manner within myself that I can achieve things. I mean, I know it sounds a bit daft to you, but when we got the cab from Harley Street to Liverpool Street, the cabbie dropped us on the wrong side of Liverpool Street station, and we had to walk to the other end. And it was Friday night in the city, and every single pub and bar was packed with people overflowing into the streets. Now, walking past groups of people like that fills me with dread and fear. And I won't say I strode past with complete confidence, because that would be bullshit, but I was able to do it without looking over and think, oh my God, what are they going to think of this fat person walking down the street, which is something I will always think. So maybe sort of little things were clicking already, maybe. So then we got the cab home, the train home, and I didn't really talk about this with my husband until the next day, when I talked about it more in depth to him than I have done with you, because some of it is private and stuff I don't want to have to discuss, or feel the need to discuss. But people want me today. Oh, a friend of mine's just texted. So yeah, that is it. Now, as for anything else that's been going on in my life this past week, yes, Pokemon Go has been going on in my life. We have been all playing it like crazy loons, and my sister and brother, and in fact all of my sisters, well, the two sisters I've got, my sister-in-law and my brother, were around today, and we were playing stupid Pokemon hunting together. One of my sisters doesn't play and my sister-in-law doesn't, so they were just laughing at us, and so that was really funny. I have made quite a few videos that I need to upload, or rather edit and upload. One of them, well, two of them being Japan crate tastings. I did a tasting video with my husband over the weekend, and I did a tasting video today with my siblings. I really don't know how much of the footage that we've done is going to be usable. I hope something will be usable, so look out for those. I have got some more Tsum Tsums that my husband has bought me. These ones, these are different to what I've got a bit of sunburn while I was sitting outside. These little stackable ones, which I've not seen in the shops, but he's bought me those, so I'll open those in their own little video. And he bought me, when I was in hypnotherapy, he bought me a whole bunch of Tsum Tsums as well to unbox, so I'm going to do a video on them separate. I do have a makeup look video with Jeffree Star's palette I still haven't edited yet and uploaded. I've got a lipstick, in fact I'm wearing another one of the lip metallic lip liquid things that I've still not edited and uploaded. I've got the Doki crate that I filmed and I have to edit and upload that. I've got a couple of recipe posts to go up on my blog. I've got a couple of review posts and videos. One is for Loopy Cases, which is what this is now on my phone, making it easier for me to take selfies, which, let's be honest, is the main reason for this sort of thing, and it's not going to go anywhere. That is pretty sturdy, but I'll do a separate video on that. I've also, where I spoke the other week about, or I think I wrote about it actually rather than spoke about it, about how I used to smoke and now I don't, and I actually vape. I've been sent a VapeMate kit to try out, which I have been doing, so I'll be doing a separate video and or blog post about that. And oh, and I've got another beauty box. It's called My Beauty Drawer or something like that. I saw it in Money Saving Experts newsletter, and there was a code in that for £10 off, so it's normally £35 and it was down to £25. It's a one-off box. It's got 6 full-size products in it and a bunch of other sample-size products, and it's completely tailor-made to you, so skin tone, hair type, blah 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 blah. I haven't even unboxed it yet because I want to do a video, so I think after I film this I'm going to film that, obviously edit and upload. And so really I think that's probably about it. So I'm under half an hour. I'm sorry if you've made it all the way through, then nice one. Thank you for watching me. It is hard because I don't know, well I do know, I can see how many views my videos get, but I never know if there's anyone really out there listening to my garbled nonsense. But if you do like this video, if you'd like to see more videos from me and all of that sort of stuff, then, you know, like, commenting, subscribing, all of those things indicate to me that yes, you would. So yeah, until next time, take care and I'll see you very soon. Bye.